And what a castle! This is Zakynthos Castle. Although it should really be Zante Castle, because this was built by the Venetians. And I think I'll come up this way. 1484, they arrived here, and they lasted until 1797. And the reason we know it's a Venetian castle is because of that. The Lion of St. Mark. Now, this wasn't just a castle. This was the city of Zante. Everybody lived in here, of course, in absolute safety. Not only because of the walls, but because all the soldiers would be here. There were 4 Catholic churches in here, and 8 Orthodox churches, plus all the houses, plus the garrisons for the men. Anyway, time started to erode it. As you can see, beautiful pine trees grew within it. It's now a favourite spot for picnics. But in 1953, powers greater than any army, any country, flattened the whole town. It was not Atlantis pushing up out of the ocean. It was an earthquake. Flattened the whole of Zakynthos. You know, you ought to stop this superstitious nonsense, you know, because next you'll be looking for black cats or something. You really thought there was going to be one there, didn't you? Well, actually, there could be here because they love their animals. You and Kitty, you'd be in 7th heaven here, matey. What? There's something I should go and see over there. If it's got anything to do with the A word, you're in big trouble. What you have to remember about castle life is that everything went on within these walls. Children playing with wooden games, people selling produce from little stalls. There'd be jugglers and entertainers, there'd be noblemen, there'd be religious men, there'd be poor men, there'd be military men. Now we know that because they've left some of their hardware lying around. And the reason why all of these people could have such a happy life was because they were safe in the knowledge that nobody was going to get past that. About the most commanding position you could wish for, really. Can you imagine the enemy sailing into that harbour? They'd look up here, see this, and say, no, and go somewhere else. Oh yeah, what? You don't think I did that, do you? Tim was not here, matey. And that is the view. And if you take one more step forward, you'll be setting off on your anti-clockwise trip a little quicker than you expected. This is what the locals believe to be a Mycenaean cemetery. The Mycenaean period was about 1500 years BC, and they reckoned that if these are graves, they were dug around about then. And they would take some digging. Can you imagine chipping away through the stone to get a space that big? Although those do look like stones that would go on top of a grave. And they're all over the place. The Mycenaeans were a really powerful force for a long time around this area of Greece. That's another one. And then this one is unopened. They were very good at pottery and they were very clever at making gold things. Now, if that's unopened, maybe we could dig it up and get the remains out of it to find out definitely whether it... No? Oh, I see. Superstition again, eh? Don't want to do that. Oh, well. You know, you could find some interesting things in their graves, and I wonder if, whilst that man was making pottery or fine things out of gold, whether he ever said to someone, ooh, someone's just walked over my grave, because you just did